Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
Good morning, everybody. Cowboy here. It is Wednesday, July 1st at 8:30 a.m. EST, and we're taking a look right now at the NASDAQ. And I think we'll start there. Good place to start. The NASDAQ pretty much dictates a lot of what goes on in the market. So we're going to talk about what I think it's going to do. But before we do that, please look into the description. There is a free algo in there. It's a free trading algo. Now, look. Everybody wants to do this agentic AI trading bots, right? They want the computer to trade for you, and that's awesome. In order to do that, you need an engine to tell the computer what to do, and that is your algorithm, okay? So we show you how to build an algo in this video. Again, go into the description, click the link. It's a quick video. I build a simple algo. You do need to optimize it before you use it. But we teach you how to do that at Algo Factory. Right? But the video is cool. Shows you how we connect the algo as well to the broker so it can trade for you while you are sleeping, golfing, or doing whatever it is you do in your spare time. So it's good stuff. Check it out. It's free. Also, like and subscribe helps us out. All right, good. So the NASDAQ, the volatility has been pretty low. Summertime tends to be that way. And we had some local highs, local lows, and we seem to be building a range, a little higher time frame range, with the bottom at 28,500 and the top around 31,100, which is the all-time high, right? That happened back in June, the 3rd of June, and price headed down on all kinds of reasons, most of the news, and it was at 28.5, and then it tried to reclaim that high back here, didn't quite make it, has tried twice, didn't quite make it, and it looks as if we're possibly building a range between that 28.5 and the 31.1, and we got a good morning here from SGCS Foreign N. Good morning. So we're going to see if that range does populate or propagate or what have you. It's quite possible. Now, for the moment, we have some sub ranges where prices just kind of hung out in these little areas, right? And one area where price was in the last 2 weeks was from 29,120, and it was just kind of hanging out below 30,270, but then it popped right up. So now prices kind of popped above this 30,275-ish area, and it's hanging out here. So basically what's going on is that NASDAQ is going to feel its way around. Outside of any kind of exogenous shocks, outside of any kind of market shocks or anything like that, this is going to have to make a decision if on the macro, on the high time frame, if it's going to go up or down, right? And we have some clues as to which that's going to be. And I'm going to go ahead and take a look. Let's see here. In the higher time frame, it's almost always bullish. And it's still kind of bullish on the sort of high time frames. Now on the daily, it's taken a break, but what I'm seeing here, if I had to guess what was going to go on, I think that's what we're going to see is what I've already said, is basically price hanging out in this range until it breaks upward. Now, how long can that take and what can happen in the meantime? That's where the money is made, right? Is what can happen in the meantime. Because NASDAQ traders, we're not really trying to, necessarily care about what happens in 2 weeks. And when I trade the NASDAQ, I care about what happens in 2 minutes or 2 hours, much less 2 days. So right now, it's seeing a bit of a bullish moment. And there's some liquidity in this area where price just broke up to. There's a little bit of a range of liquidity right here in this yellow box. You can even extend it up to here. So we're going to see if price today does one of two things. Here's what the most likely scenario is, in my opinion, is price will sort of grab a little liquidity here and then head back up and maybe go sideways like this. That's the most likely scenario that I think we see today. Okay, now that of course could change. We have the market open happening here in an hour, and that that can make a pretty big difference there. Also, I'm going to go ahead and keep this here. I'm just going to make it less visible, the original path that we talked about, so we just have it on for record. You notice I didn't short as price came up to this level. I did not go short there. I only plotted out longs because that's all I was interested in. And that's how the NASDAQ is. The NASDAQ is known to destroy the short trades. So I did not short at that level. And a lot of it has to do with the algos just wanting to go long. Now I made, money yesterday. Not a lot, just a few $100, just because it's a little tough to trade the chop. If you're going to trade chop, you can't really trade big money. So it was certainly wasn't a 5-figure day. But this little area was profitable. And had I been awake overnight, this would have been profitable, but I have too deep. And the algos that I would use to trade this are not really that great on the low, super, super low time frame like that. I don't have an algo that I can automatically trade on the 1 minute chart or whatever it is. But that's what we're looking at right now. I think now there is always that possibility that it could come back down into this range. But even if it does, I think it's going to try to kind of fight to come back up. I don't think we're necessarily going to see price head down today. Now, conditions could change, and I simply could be wrong. That does happen. But those are the two most likely scenarios that I see. Either kind of a sideways and up grind, or a dip back down and then trying to head back up. And then, of course, if the conditions change, I will amend that. But that's what we're looking at for now. We have a request from SGCS4NN. Wants to see AMRZ. This is Asmeyer Ltd. I'm going to have to back out and look at the macro. I'm not familiar with this stock. This is a pretty new stock, so I don't have a lot of data. It looks like it listed back in June of 2025, right? So we don't have a lot of information on, how the stock behaves and things like that. It doesn't seem very impressive. It's kind of just ranging in this area. So in this case, when you have a stock which on the sort of higher time frame doesn't have like a lot of direction, there's not a real clear trend. You just have to look at the structure, the key structures. You look at pivot points where price has pivoted back and forth. In fact, I'd put that here. I'd put it here too. So, and then you'd have to play from there, right? So here's some of the higher time frame structures. I mapped this one here because it's a lot of key points where price rejected back here, but I'm going to make it a dotted line because it's old. But price is bouncing. I'm not going to do that. It's bounced there recently. I'm going to keep it solid. Bounced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Is this like a fundamental play for you, SG? I'm not really into fundamentals here. I only look at what the chart says. And what the chart tells me here is just not a lot. It's just there's not a lot of trend here. Okay. So what is it going to do? I don't know. It looks like it just kind of wants to go sideways and down, to be honest with you. So the best I can give you is, perhaps you see price sort of rotate here and eventually make a range of some kind, or it's going to maybe break down and make a range here. Yeah, and make a way here. Look, here's the thing about it, okay? This is not a very clean chart. It's very gappy. It doesn't look like a very liquid stock. If you're in it, yeah, it's a new stock. If you're in it for what do you call it? Fundamental reasons, I wouldn't worry about the chart. Generally you want to know if the trend is up or down. Not much of a trend here. So it's just going to choose a level and go sideways, and it's going to obey structure most likely, right? See how it continues to bounce at these levels. So, you're either going to, I think the best way to do this is like this. You're either going to see bounces at structure or not. And then it'll break a structure and then it'll bounce at other structure. And that's the best I could do for you on this. This is a very messy chart. and it's not really worth charting unless you plan to trade it. So the only way I would trade it is I would look for structure, maybe even here, and I'd short at that structure, or if it comes down, I would bounce. So I would look for a bounce maybe at 52.47, which the pre-market is there right now. It's actually closed at 53, pre-market at 52.54. That you going to trade it? I don't understand what that means. This comment here, I don't know what that means. Yeah, it's either going to bounce right there at the sort of that 52 is going to open and bounce up, or it's going to open and break down. And if it opens and breaks down, it has reason to bounce at 50.39. So you're just going to be looking for, if you're bullish, you take the longs, right? So you buy the bounces. If you're bearish, then you short the breakdowns. So this is just something where you look at the structure and you try to trade that. But this isn't a very liquid stock. Like I'm seeing a ton of gaps. This thing gaps all the time. It's probably gonna gap down on the open. So yeah, then that's what you're gonna do then. So if you're gonna trade the options and plan on the bounces, you buy calls, then I would look to buy a call when price is maybe around 50.30, but I would wait to see if it has the ability to bounce there. If it breaks below, then you're going to look for, maybe some calls around like 47.69, maybe with a strike just below 50, and then, or say like if you're going to buy the bounce at 50.37, maybe, you're looking for a strike at like 52.15 or something, something below that structure. Okay. On to, let's see, what do you have time for? Time is it now? There we go. Yeah, it's pretty much over, guys. The live lab is over. As you can see, SG comes on, gets charting. And if anybody else comes on and wants a chart, they can request it. And I almost always will handle the request given that there is time. Okay. So kind of a quiet week. Also understand that the month just ended, right? So, and the 6-month candles all just locked in. So a lot of the high time big dog players, they look at like the 3 and the 6-month candles. So there's a couple things that happen. The summer does tend to slow down a little bit, although there's plenty of action in places like the NASDAQ. So, you just got to be pretty selective. You should anyway be selective with your trades always, but you even have to be more cautious when you have the slow time. And we're sort of entering that. Now, of course, we're in the world of Trump and Hormuz and, that kind of madness. So that can change really at any time. So, understand that the whole picture can change very quickly. And that's great when it does, because it adds volatility and we can trade the volatility. When you have a big change, like a big shock, it can take you either to a stop loss or a take profit. It's kind of like a 50-50. So on those moves, then you either take the win or you take the loss, and then you trade the volatility that comes afterwards. But we do that. We win trades here quite a lot. So come on over to algofactory.tech. Links in the description for a free algo. And we do our weekly video on Monday. We have one more live this week, which is tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. EST. We'll do this again. So come on live, ask us questions, or you can ask questions in the comment section. And we will see you tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. EST sharp. And don't forget,
join us or die.
All right. Thanks for watching. Yeah, you too. You have a good day, sir, or ma'am, whichever one you are. I'm guessing, sir. Cheers.